Hello, my name is Roger, and I'm here to demonstrate today the use of our spring bolt railing kit on 90-degree joints. Our product really shines on 90-degree joints. There is no other hardware that operates the way that ours does, completely concealed, installs in 2 minutes with 2 tools, and those are just 2 common tools: a driver, a square driver, and a paddle bit. In every case, that's all it takes to install all the different kinds of hardware kits that we have. We have them for attaching rails to post, post to deck, and also for rails to rail fittings and making 90-degree joints, such as the one I'm demonstrating here today. You start off by following the instructions that are on every kit on the back. After you've made your joint, after you've cut your joints that you're going to make, you want to take them at that point, clean the fuzz off of them, make sure you got any of the fuzz from the cut clean. Now's the time when you want to do that. You don't want to do it afterwards. If you just do this one little operation right there, like I've just done, and it's just that quick. You take maybe some 100 grit paper after you've made your cut and just clean that joint up. Now, the reason for that, and you'll see it, but once this joint's together, now you've got nothing to do to the joint. It's just don't have to touch it. You don't have to sand it. Anything you do to the joint after this thing's together, only going to make it look worse. So I'll show you how we install the hardware now. We always start off with the rail profile that we're using, whatever that might be. In this case, it's a standard 6010 profile that is available and is most commonly used. And as per the instructions, when doing a 90-degree joint, you're going to want to measure 3/4 of an inch up from the short point. So you have your short point of your cut, you want to measure up 3/4. Now, to stay consistent, reasonably consistent with your holes, we take the wafer cut and we're going to measure up 3/4 from the bottom, make a mark, and then we're going to come along, measure and mark center. I take a felt tip pen and I highlight that to make it very bold. I got a nice bold mark there where I want my center of my hardware to be installed and drilled. Now, at this point, I take an 1/8 inch drill bit and I drill a 1/8 inch hole on the mark. And what happens almost every time I do this is you're drilling into end grain here, so your drill bit's going to wander just a little bit. You might not have it right exactly on the center of your mark, but don't worry about that. It won't matter, and you'll see why. We're going to take the first hole that we're going to drill. We're going to place it so that our wafer cut is flush with the bottom of a short point. Now, at this time, you can either use an 1/8 inch drill bit and transfer the mark onto your face of your joint, or you can use a pencil. And a pencil's usually what I do. I usually have one handy. I don't have to put a bit in my drill, but the mark works fine. Now, if at this point you're going to take your 5/8 paddle bit, and I measure up 1.25 inches, put a piece of blue tape on it, and have a flap on it there, so I know when I've got my proper depth. That flap's going to clean the sawdust off, start cleaning the sawdust off the face of my joint, and I know I'm at my right depth when that happens. Now, at this point, you're going to line your bit on here, and you can start your drilling. You notice that my bit is 90 degrees to the face of my joint. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with your skill level that you can hold your drill bit at 90 degrees to the joint, you can do a jig as I've done here, just set up real quick for you today. It's a 45 degree I set my table at. I put guides the width of my rail and make sure that that is centered on my bit. Then I can put my rail in. I can slide it up, bring the bit down until it hits on my mark. And at that point, I can cut a stop, extend my stop up by cutting a piece of wood and put it in here. And now I can drill this. It's going to be exactly centered, right exactly where I want it. I don't have to measure each time. But if you don't have that drill press available, or don't want to take the time to set it up because you're just doing 1 or 2 joints, you can certainly drill like this. Now, we get the drill started on here, and okay, there's one. Now for the second face of the joint, I'm going to put the mark away from me, and that way, even if my mark isn't on center, because I have the mark towards me here and away from me here, these holes are going to line up even if it's off center. That's just the old carpenter's doweling trick that's been used for a very long time. We're going to go ahead and drill another hole on the mark. Now if you want to check your depth of your hole, a good way to do it, you're going to open up your pack, but you want to hang on to that because it's got the instructions on the back. But you can take your hole, put your spring in there, and you're going to want that spring to be sticking out maybe 1/4 of an inch or less. You don't want it sticking out any more than that. In fact, I'd like it a little bit deeper. I'd like that spring down in there a little deeper, so I'm going to take the hole and just give it a quick little touch. There, I'm up about maybe 1/8 of an inch or so on that hole. I take the spring and just set it in here. I'm up about about 1/4. I can live with that. Up 1/4, up 1/8. That'll work. Okay, now at this point, we're going to take our screws. There's 2 screws, 2 springs, and 1 center pin on every kit. Put the screw on your driver, slide the spring over, and now you're going to take and screw the spring to the bottom of the hole. You want to get a hold of that spring with the pliers or with your fingers, but pliers is probably a little bit better. The ends of those springs can be sharp and you can cut yourself on them. So grabbing a needle nose pliers and just grabbing that spring and making sure she's tight to the bottom of the hole. So that one's installed, it's snug. We're going to do the same thing on the other joint. Remember, all this time we're only using 2 tools. That's all that's ever involved. No special tools, and these are just standard tools that pretty much everybody has. Do the same thing here. Put the spring in the bottom of the hole. Check it for being tight. Okay, now at that point all we do is insert the guide pin. We line them up, and the mechanics of all our spring bolt hardware works off the patented mechanics of 1 spring threading inside the other. After the surface of the joints, the 2 surfaces have come in contact with each other, every turn that you give only threads 1 spring further inside the other, increasing the clamping power. That's with approximately 2 turns. I'm going to get 3 turns on here, and it's very strong clamping power. Now, the other really good feature of this, and this question that's almost asked almost right away, is how accurate do my holes have to be? They don't have to be that accurate. You saw how fussy I was just now. You don't have to be any more fussy than what I was. No more accuracy than that. But the holes are oversized, the springs are undersized, so you can move this joint 1/8 of an inch in all directions, and you're going to get your perfect profile alignment. And that's why you want to pre-sand that joint and knock the fuzz off, because right now anything you do to that joint after this, it's only going to make it worse, because right now it's perfect. Now, you saw that. Take it apart, 3 seconds. You apply glue to both surfaces. I always make sure that my entire surface is covered with a layer of glue. Same to the other one. I always glue both surfaces. I always use Titebond 2. It's what I did all my load testing with, and all this hardware has passed commercial and residential load test. You can get on our website and download PDF files that show how those tests were performed by certified engineers. We have both surfaces glued now at this point. We're going to insert the metal pin, align it, twist it together, and we're going to give this 3, maybe 4 turns. And you're going to quickly align the profiles, because that Titebond is going to want to lock up on you. So you want to get the profiles aligned, which doesn't take long, as you see I just did there. You always want to make sure that you've got a wet rag available, because you want to wipe the excess glue off immediately. Get it out of there. Just get it out of there. Now, what we've got is a joint with perfect, absolutely perfect profile alignment. There's no plugs, no staples, no putty. You will make this joint in less than 2 minutes. It really doesn't matter what your skill level is, and you'll do it with 2 tools, 2 standard tools, no special tools. Now, I don't care who does your job for you, whether you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy or if you're the guy that does it for a living. Nobody can make a joint quicker than that, better looking than that, in that short a period of time, using anything other than the spring bolt. So we hope that you get to your local stores and give our product a try. You can buy it online, and that's another option that you have. Get it in your home, get it in your shop, give it a try. You'll be able to do jobs that you didn't think you quite had the skill level to do, you didn't quite want to tackle it, because you can put this together and take dry, check your fits, take it apart. Now, with this hardware, you can feel confident that you can do the job, and you can, because you can check your cuts before you do your final glue. So thanks for your time. Give it a try and see if what I'm saying is not true. I know that it is, and I know that you'll find out that it's true as well. Thank you.